Hello and welcome to Ventfort Hall. My name is Haley, I'm a tour guide here and I'm going to show you around the house today. Ventfort Hall was built in 1893 for Sarah Spencer Morgan, sister of J.P. Morgan and her husband George Hale Morgan. Sarah unfortunately passed away in 1896, just 3 years after the house was completed. When her husband George passed away in 1911, the house was left to their 3 children who sold the house and all of the contents, so we unfortunately do not have original furnishings throughout the house today. The house was rented and privately owned until 1945. From then through the late 1980s, the house was used for a variety of uses, including as a Tanglewood dormitory, an inn for musicians and artists, an all-girls ballet camp, and finally a religious group who ultimately went bankrupt, leaving the house totally abandoned for about 5 years. A developer came along in 1991 with the intention of demolishing the house to build a nursing home in its place. The house had fallen into great disrepair. The Ventfort Hall Association formed and was able to save the property and has been restoring the house since 1997. At this point, the majority of the first and second floors are restored, with the basement and third floor awaiting future restoration. The first room to the right of the main entryway in the Great Hall is the salon, which was used as a ladies' receiving room. Note the delicately plastered ceiling, apropos for a ladies' parlor. Ventfort Hall was originally built as a 28,000 square foot Gilded Age cottage. The room we're standing in now is known as the Great Hall. You'll note over to the side here we do have the grand fireplace, which was actually the second fireplace in the house. There was another one built in the 1890s when Sarah Morgan was first building the house. However, it was not up to snuff, so they ended up taking it out and putting in this new one. Some of the original photos you see here were donated to us by members of the Morgan family who found them in their home in New Jersey in 2017. These photos give us a better sense of what the house looked like in the 1890s. To the left of the fireplace are the doors to the library, above which in the paneling are 2 different tones of woodwork, the darker of which being original to the house and the lighter having been restored since the 1990s, temporarily left unstained. We have left the woodwork temporarily unfinished to show the workmanship of those local artisans who restored the interior. The back door of the Great Hall leads to the back veranda, where in the summertime we love to host our Gilded Age teas. This next room we enter is the dining room. Up on the left, as we came into this room, there is a portrait of Sarah Spencer Morgan, who is the lady of the house, and on the wall opposite is her husband, George Hale Morgan. Now, Sarah and George were 7th cousins, so they both had the Morgan last name before they were even married. This fireplace that I'm in front of is the only fireplace we'll see here on the first floor that does not have the original marble. All of the fireplaces in the house were originally done with an Italian marble. However, this fireplace was restored using marble from Vermont. You may notice this dining room is not set up to look like how the Morgans would have had it back in the 1890s. And that is because we keep this whole first floor set up for all sorts of practical purposes. We love to host events, Gilded Age teas, lectures, murder mysteries, so be sure to join us when you can for our next fun event. You can find information about upcoming events at our website, www.gildedage.org. The billiard room at the end of the long hall was originally a retreat for the men at the end of the night and features much of the original Italian wood. Next, we'll head all the way back up the long hall and head up the stairs. Overlooking the Great Hall between the first and second floors is a musician's gallery. Welcome to the second floor. Now on our tours, we generally start by heading down the hall this way. We're going to go to what was originally George Morgan's private bedroom. Before we go there, I do want to show you to the right of the staircase where we just came up, there is a little informal sitting area. This Scottish design ceiling with large plaster pendants hanging down above the Great Hall is all original. So welcome to George's bedroom. Now while this room was originally George's private bedroom, Sarah and George did each have their own bedrooms. It was a his and her style master suite. This room is currently not designed to look like George's bedroom, however it is set up to look more like a Gilded Age dining room. Because our dining room downstairs is set up for all sorts of practical purposes, we love to be able to use this upstairs space to show you more of a traditional Gilded Age dining room setup. Currently on loan to Ventfort by the Foster family, former owners of the Bellefontaine mansion here in Lenox, is their collection of Gilded Age plateware, glassware, and silverware. The photo on the wall shows the Bellefontaine dining room in the 1920s. Now walking straight ahead from where we just came through, we're going to take a left and we're going to start heading towards what was originally Sarah Morgan's private bedroom through this little connecting closet here, which also houses some fans that are from the collection of Bellefontaine. As we come through the connecting closet, you'll see we start to enter Sarah's bedroom. You may immediately notice this room is designed much more to look like a Gilded Age bedroom. Now, while there were a lot of photos downstairs that showed us what the rooms looked like in the Morgans' day, upstairs there unfortunately were not too many photographs. They didn't really take photos of these private spaces upstairs, just public rooms downstairs. But luckily there was a family inventory done in 1911, just before the family sold the house, so we do have a complete recollection of every single piece of furniture that was in this room before the Morgan family sold the house. Using the family inventory, this room was replicated by Carl Sprague from Stockbridge, Massachusetts. The wallpaper you see behind me here is a complete recreation of the original. We were very fortunate that there was enough of a sample left that we could get it recreated. This is not the case in most of the rooms, especially up here on the second floor. Adjacent to Sarah's bedroom is her own private bathroom in which there is a piece of the original wallpaper. Through the second door in Sarah's bathroom, we enter this hallway that connects the master suite from the rest of the bedrooms on the second floor, which are guest bedrooms. Welcome to the green room. You may notice that this room is physically green, but we also do use this room for when we have weddings. The brides and bridesmaids are able to use this room to get ready in before their special day. Now we do know the Morgans called this the green room, so while we do not have any photos, we do have a guess as to the theme of this room. As we come through from the green room, we will come through a little connecting dressing room here that brings us into the next guest bedroom, which is called the blue room. Looking across the hall from the blue room, we can see the nursery. To the right, the hallway continues down to some more guest bedrooms. Looking back over to the left, there is the main entryway where we first came up the staircase. But for now, we will be heading straight across the hall into the nursery. This room, currently set up to look like a nursery, was originally a guest bedroom in the Morgans' day called the Yellow Room. It does feature the original fireplace and window seat architecture. Taking a left out of the Yellow Room, we will head down the hall to see a few rooms that have not yet been restored. The end of this hallway also features George Hale Morgan's Louis Vuitton traveling trunk. We show these unrestored rooms to give our guests an idea of what much of the house looked like in 1994 and what restoration challenges lie ahead. Thank you so much for joining me today on this tour of Ventfort Hall. We hope to see you soon!